exciting. That's exciting. This is exciting stuff, Freddy. We're live again. Alicia Morgan's here again. Alicia, you are just a champion. Hello again. How are you? Sharon's on. Hey, Sharon. How are you? We are having a good time here. We had a nice little lesson. Uwe's here. What's up, Uwe?
Hi.
And I got to commend you, Freddy. Freddy planned today's lesson. I had very little to do with it. And by little to do with it, I mean I just stood there and did what he said.
It's all right.
That's all. I was Freddy's wingman.
Don't say slave. Yeah, wingman sounds better.
Yeah. That's it. All right. I just got to share to one more place, and then we're ready to do our thing.
Kind of tired, man.
I know, man. This weather is not doing me any good.
Yep. Getting old.
Alicia said she had a great time singing and dancing along. It lifted her mood. Alicia, that's great news, because I think we could all need a little bit of uplifting, don't you?
Yep.
Hello. Welcome to the show. Hello. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Alicia, I don't know who else is watching. We're happy you're here. This is episode 23 of season 2, which means in total we have done 79 children's shows. The first season we did 28 German, 28 English, and now we just did 24 English. It's a lot. That's a lot since March.
Yup.
It's a lot.
Yup. Let me just close it.
Close that door. Close that door.
Where to start?
We're tired. We're physically tired. We're like the rain. The rain has been a killer. The rain's been a killer lately, and we've
In terms of busking, you mean?
that too. Like we have a busking license. We were able to play music on the street this week. However, today and yesterday it's been very rainy, which makes it not very good to make money.
True. That's true.
So we're going to be doing our normal live stream today, tonight rather, at 8 o'clock. But today, Freddy, he handled the lesson. He did a new musical arrangement on an old classic called Singin' in the Rain. And what I'm interested about, Freddy, is that, when you do things like that, you essentially recontextualize an old song for the young listener or the new listener, because I don't think I wouldn't call that, Alicia said, shut the door, you're professionals. Touche, Alicia.
Touche. Oh, that hurt.
Yeah. So when you are contextualizing
Yes.
the song
Yes.
in a way for young learners or new learners,
Yes.
then how exactly, what goes through your mind? Like can we break down the way today went?
Basically the same thing that we talked about yesterday.
Yeah.
It's about the right amount of reduction, so it doesn't lose its spirit. So the topic's got to stay the same, obviously. You pick some words that relate to the topic. I mean, raining is always like raining, of course, contains rain, obvious thing.
Yes.
And if you're not finding any words for that, then you just have to, work around with it by adding moves, adding certain cues. So it's easier for you to remind what the lyrics are all about. Remember, that's true.
Sorry, I didn't mean to correct your English.
It's all right.
On air. Yeah, well, I think that's an interesting thing that you bring up when connecting movement to lyrics, because I believe that a lot of speech pathologists also use that as a method for helping kids learn different sounds and things like that. So that's cool. I really appreciated you integrating the movements into the song, because that. Well, remember when Ayana was on? She talked about, she integrated a lot of movement into the stuff that she did, whether it was keeping kids busy at the table so they don't flip out before food, or getting kids to sit down, but adding a twist to it. I think that's such a neat thing to integrate, because again, one part, Alicia, you noticed that and you contributed. We handed the reins over to the audience and said, what should we do? And we made a list of different possible moves that we could do. And that's another thing that's empowering to the kids, because I've noticed with my children is that there's nothing they love more than telling an adult what to do.
Yeah, and decision making is a muscle that's very important nowadays, I suppose.
I think so.
I think, children, when do they get the chance in general to decide?
Not often.
They have to stick with you in terms of, food, dinner, holiday,
bedtime,
clothes, which is important.
School,
which is important
appointments,
in a way,
like
lots of stuff.
Yeah, man, that's an interesting thing.
Plus, we didn't do it as much like a couple days ago. I mean, the last shows were kind of, introducing new stuff, talking about new stuff, explaining, telling a story, and I kind of missed that interactive part of our show, which is cool, really.
Oh, I love it, man.
I enjoy it because, of course, we kind of pre-prepared some actions in case nobody would respond, but you guys had way better ideas. Than
they were really cool. And what I just think it's so cool. One thing I'm finding interesting, and we've got a couple people on. Alicia, I'd like to ask you, because Alicia's a young adult. She's in her early 20s, and Alicia, when we started this, our intention was to make this a children's show. What we're starting to notice slowly but surely is that certain adults seem to like it too. And, I can't help but notice that you've watched it quite a few times in the past couple weeks. You and our friend Carol in Colombia. What could you maybe think for a second? You don't have to tell us now, but I'd like to know a little bit about what makes this intriguing to you, because I did not anticipate that adults, specifically young adults, would care. I simply didn't imagine. I never anticipated that a person like yourself would be interested in what we're doing. But something seems to be resonating, and I'm also getting comment. My wife is telling me that some people are watching who are adults, and they're saying, we don't think this is just for kids. And I'm trying to identify a little bit why that is. So when we go into season 3, we have a little bit of a better idea of what we're doing, because even though we're targeting, and I want to keep targeting, because I feel like the language you use and the way that we explain things is age appropriate for young people. But we're breaking down musical concepts in an approachable way that's fun.
The subject that we're talking about doesn't matter. It could be interesting for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the way I'm doing it, because I work during my study time. I work with elders, I work with 16, 17-year-olds, like youngsters, and the topic stays the same. The narrative must be adjusted, but the topic is fascinating the way it is. Like rain is fascinating. Rain does sound. Rain is water. Rain comes and goes. Rain is, everybody knows how it feels like to stay in the rain. Some like it, some don't, and it's a universal thing in this case.
Yeah.
And no matter what you're gonna talk, how you explain or how you kind of put your games around that topic, totally depends on the group you have. And yeah, I mean, working with a xylophone, for example, is a thing that everybody would be into.
Everybody likes hitting things with sticks.
Yeah, and
that's universal truth.
It's so intuitive, like hitting things. That means as well percussion. People like that because the access is very easy.
Right.
Very, very easy. You don't have to explain stuff. It's the mallet. It's the xylophone. There you go. Sometimes you mark a little the blocks with some colors, as we did in our show, to get that theoretic stuff out of the way. Just instead of hitting a G chord and an F chord and a C chord, you just hit blue, red, and purple, for example. And so the subject doesn't really matter. You can choose everything for every group of age.
Alicia just said something interesting. She said it's family friendly, but it doesn't talk down.
Yeah, very good point. Very good point.
That's a interesting thing. I think you and I don't know. I feel like
that's why it's so unpopular, because a lot of people, they talk it down. They're doing this like, yeah,
I don't.
Nobody needs that. Nobody needs that.
Yeah, well, it's not. I don't know. I guess people just don't like being talked down to, or maybe some people do. Maybe like depending on the show, or maybe people. I haven't seen a whole lot of kids' music shows, just because the ones that I see are that goo goo gaga stuff.
That's what I meant.
Okay, okay, I get you. And man, I don't know. I believe in the talent of people so much, especially young people, right? They are so incredibly good.
And they're the fastest learners.
Like, it's amazing. Hold on, Alicia says, you've also made it a non-intimidating learning environment. Well, I'm happy to hear that. It's one of those things that, like, I just am continually impressed by young people, like kids up, and Alicia, the young adults as well. Oh, Carol's here as well. What did she say? Carol says, it's one of the things I like the most of this. I have a little cousin. I think there's a lot of stuff I would share with him when the quarantine's over. Oh, that's really cool for you.
That's cool to hear.
That's cool to hear, Carol. And Carol, I believe is like 17 or 18, and she's been sticking with us as well. Cool. Yeah, man. Carol, Alicia, we really try to think a lot about what we do before we do it. I don't know if you ever caught any of the lessons we did in 5/4 timing and 7/8 timing and things like that, but these are things that are difficult, at least for me, even to conceptually wrap my head around. And I've been playing music for a while. I do not have the theoretical or the educational background that Freddy has. So sometimes I've been able to play these things, but understanding it to the point where I could explain it to a person has been out of my depth. So there are certain episodes that I take the lead on and Freddy takes the lead on, but being able to break it down in a way that a kid would understand, I guess that might be the ticket, because if you can break it down so a kid can understand, then everybody should be able to understand it, right?
That's correct. And another thing is, if a topic is too difficult to explain, then you just have to get to that flow as quickly as possible. For example,
when you say the flow, what do you mean?
Yeah, let me explain that. So talking about 7/8, if you repeat it over and over again, if you support it with words that fit to a 7/8 groove, then, and you repeat it and you get in that, in that meditation kind of zone,
and just do whatever.
Where your brain,
1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2.
For example, where you actually don't wrap your head around it, but more like you're
feeling it.
You're just feeling it without explaining it. That's way better. And after you experienced it, you can name it and be like, what we just did is called blah, blah, blah. And the way it works, like I show it to you, let me get my pen, I write it down for you. Then you can wrap your head around it, and then it really sinks in deeply. But always do the experience first. Don't even try to understand it. Make the experience first, and then talk about it.
Mhm.
Always in that order. When you do it, we tried it the other way around a couple of times, but then you and we were feeling, oh, like this is very complicated, sort of. Like we are the learners as well in this case, because talking to the camera is a thing that's like quite new to me, and it's always do the experience first. And I wasn't like, today we were doing it, we were collecting ideas, like getting as close to the core of the topic as possible, and then we were explaining something like, this is the ukulele, these are the chords, this is the way to play it, let's do it again. And then we were done. The experience is the most important thing.
I agree.
We experience so much stuff without even knowing the details, like writing, like riding a car. How do you say, like using a car when you're driving a car? There you go. When you drive a car, you don't know much about the gears and how it works. You just use it.
That's true. Well, I think even and Carol from Columbia, she's 15. Oh wow, Carol,
Cool.
I forgot that.
Yeah.
Well, I think maybe a bicycle might even be a more apt metaphor, because a bicycle, because I just taught my son to ride a bike not long ago. He's 3 years old. Yeah. There's a lot of physics. There's a lot of physics that's involved in riding a bicycle,
and he's not aware of it.
Right?
Not at all. You just do things.
So all you had to do, though, in order to successfully ride a bike, you really need to be able to do three things at the same time, right? And really only two, because once you just keep pedaling, then you get that establishes the balance, right?
The flow.
So pedaling and not stopping pedaling.
Yeah.
No, understanding your balance, which he did because he had that foot bike he had before.
Yeah.
And then being able to steer. Those are the three very most important things that come into play when riding a bike. Yeah. Braking comes later, and he figured that out too. But again, if you want to get up and going, that's what happens. If I had sat there and tried to explain, well, son, once you get past the whatever kilometers of power and the torque and the force equals ma, but he'd be like, Papa, he wouldn't know. He wouldn't know what's going on. So
and even more, he'd be scared.
Right.
Right. If you just talk around it too much, then he'd be like, well, that sounds kind of dangerous. I won't give it a try, So the experience is, and it's always a risk, because I'm working with human beings that never experienced music as a musician, Right. They were always listening to it, going to concerts, were maybe dancing to it when they were a little drunk or something, but most of them were encouraged enough to, get the chance to really do it.
Yeah.
And this is a big factor as well, like taking a risk, as in life, and you get some progress, This is wow. It's very, very.
Like, listen, I'm not trying to discount theoretical knowledge. I'm not. I think it's important. And in fact, I loved being in university more than anything. But the parts of university I loved the most were my painting and drawing classes, where I was actually doing things.
Yeah.
I'm simply a big believer in learning from practical experience. I'm a hand-on type of fella. There are other people who do things differently. But if any of the guys, watching this, Carol, Alicia, I don't know who else is on right now. If you want to play music, learn music at any point in your time, you're going to learn the most by doing it.
Indeed.
I think teachers are important, but let's take my friend Alexander Misko the other day. He was on the podcast. Alicia,
that was a great
listened to
show.
it. Now, did you watch it?
Yeah.
Oh man. So we had a podcast. We talked about it afterward. I do believe that genetically Alexander is gifted. Like I'm sure that he has some innate properties to the construction of his brain that help make him better. And when you're naturally good at something, it's called talent. Okay. Here's the thing. And what a lot of people misunderstand about talent. Talent does not make anybody a master. I don't care who you look at, Amadeus Mozart, Jimi Hendrix, right? Alexander Misko, whoever it is, there are gazillions of hours that they put behind what they did to make them as good as they are. And Alex, what's so unique about him is he's one of the first people that I know where he's 22 or 23 now. He's been posting on YouTube since he was 15. You can see his whole progression of how he developed. And he told me that a lot of what he learned was from the internet. Like, now, everybody learns differently. That's important to note. I am a person, I learn way faster when I'm in the room with the human and I can see them doing it. And,
Imitation.
Imitation or guidance or immediate feedback, that sort of thing is very, very helpful for me as opposed to reading from tablature.
Yeah.
Right? That it takes my brain a long time to process that. And I just know how I learn. Alexander Misko was able to do that from the internet. If you want to play this instrument or the guitar, there's so much you can learn from the internet and just doing it and starting with campfire songs. And again, just getting through like Itsy Bitsy Spider to begin with these things, every little thing you learn and fail at and then succeed at is another chink in the armor to getting better. So that's a little bit foo-foo.
Yeah, these 3 chords as well.
What's that?
Itsy Bitsy Spider.
Itsy bitsy spider, open up the water spout. Out came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun and dried up all the rain. And the itsy bitsy spider climbed up the spout again. Yeah.
Something like that.
I'm a big kid. So that's about it, guys. Tomorrow's our last show for the season. We're going to choose a story. Then we're going to take a bit of a break so we can regroup and figure out how to do this further because we really, really would like to make this a thing. I'd really like to make this a thing.
Please let us know what you would like to see in
season 3.
In season 3.
Yep.
And because we really want to, stay in touch with you guys.
Yep.
And just write us something, some ideas, some songs, whatever it is, some recommendations, some feedback in general. That'd be very helpful. Very, very helpful.
I agree.
Yep.
So that said, episode 23 podcast coming to a close. So goodbye. See you next time. Goodbye. See you next time. Tonight, 8:00 p.m. Central European Time, 7:00 p.m. British Standard Time. I don't know what that's called. GMT. And 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I believe that's the same time for you, Carol, in Colombia.
BST, British Standard Time.
BST. I don't know. I think it's GMT.
I don't know.
Meantime, I'm not sure. We're going to be playing a show tonight. We're going to be doing a set, playing some songs, and having some fun. So we'd love it if you joined us.
Yep.
And peace. Thanks, guys.
Ciao, ciao.